SpongeBob Employee of the Month. Developed by AWE Games under license from Nickelodeon Games and published by THQ. SpongeBob and friends are having a photo shoot on the set of Operation Krabby Patty, and Mr. Krabs gets an envelope containing tickets to Neptune's Paradise. Mr. Krabs gives the tickets to SpongeBob, who runs and tells Patrick that they're going to Neptune's Paradise. For some reason, Patrick is attacking a water dispenser.
Hey, SpongeBob!
Mr. Krabs gave us 2 free tickets to Neptune's Paradise!
Neptune's Paradise?
You go home and get ready, and we'll meet up later after
And
work.
so SpongeBob goes to work at the famous Krusty Krab. Employee of the Month is a point-and-click adventure title. We start off by going inside the Krusty Krab and pick up a dirty plate and talk to a customer who's complaining that Squidward hasn't served him yet.
Terribly sorry, sir. What did you order again?
A Krabby Patty, and I'm starving.
So to make this Krabby Patty, we have to pick up a dirty plate and then go over to the condiment bar and pick up some condiments like lettuce, tomato, and cheese. And we also end up talking to Mr. Krabs through the door.
Mr. Krabs, are you in there?
Mr. Krabs shoos you off because he needs to get down to the bargain mart.
Down to the bargain mart. I'm having a rummage sale.
Yeah, you don't want to know what's coming later.
Squidward,
As usual, SpongeBob starts annoying Squidward and asks him why he didn't serve the customer, and Squidward says he doesn't want to.
Hey, Squidward, there's a hungry-looking customer over there. Shouldn't you do something about it?
I have no interest in that.
Makes me wonder how long he's been sitting there. So we grab a hamburger off the stove, and there's a bunch of condiment dispensers we can click on, and we also go into SpongeBob's locker. He has a pin-up of Cindy Cheeks, a photo of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, and we also get a reference to a Season 3 episode where they murder the health inspector.
I made that Krabby Patty a few weeks ago. It was so perfect. I couldn't let someone eat it.
You killed the health inspector, jackass. So we wash the plate off, combine the lettuce tomato with the hamburger, and put the hamburger on the plate.
A Krabby Patty!
And we return to the lobby and give it to the customer.
A Krabby Patty! Here you go, sir.
The customer then tells us how we can get to Neptune's Paradise.
Krabby Patty!
There's a bus stop downtown where you can catch a bus to Neptune's Paradise every day.
And so we head to downtown Bikini Bottom, and SpongeBob acts as if he's never been there before. There's a jewelry store at the end of the street, and talking to the cashier dude rewards us a VHS tape.
Yeah!
I'll explain that at the end of the review.
Hey, Patrick, where'd you get that
SpongeBob
sweet
spots
camera?
Patrick and asks where he got the new camera at, and Patrick reveals he was in a bikini
You
contest.
Want a bikini contest?
Well, I was the only male contestant, but the judges said I had the most unique figure.
Stumped, Patrick.
SpongeBob
You
starts
know
to
where I
wonder
can
where
find
they're gonna
any
find
bus
bus
tokens?
tokens, and Patrick says just
Patrick,
buy
you
them.
know we don't have any money.
Yeah, you don't have any money. You work at the Krusty Krab.
Well, I heard the Flying Dutchman buried some treasure near Goo Lagoon.
Goo Lagoon. There is nothing like
And
being
so
at
we
the
head
ocean.
off the Goo Lagoon
Except being
and
under the
notice Larry lifting weights in the
Hello,
background.
Larry.
We go over to talk to him,
The only thing I really
and he
miss
says
was
he wants a grandma's homemade pie. So we end up going to Grandma's house. And we find out Mr. Krabs went to the bargain mart.
Our dear friend Mr. Krabs makes his way to the local bargain mart to make a little extra money on the side.
Hi,
So
Grandma.
SpongeBob learns his
It's
grandma
me,
has
your most
dementia
favorite
because she
grandson.
thinks he's Patrick.
Is that you?
So SpongeBob offers to go to the
Run to
store for
and
urchin
get you
chips,
some urchin chips.
but she don't want him to.
I'll just feed them to the seagulls.
Nonetheless, SpongeBob goes to the grocery store and inquires why the guy's wearing Mr. Krabs' clothes.
Seem a little big for you.
Yeah, I know. I gotta have them altered. I just bought them
From who? They look sort of familiar.
from Mr. Krabs. He let me have them for a steal. He's in the bargain mart, selling all kinds of stuff.
So if you're wearing Mr. Krabs' clothes, what is he wearing?
You don't want to know.
And here we get a fourth wall break.
Good to know where the exit is in case there's a fire. Here, underwater. Do you carry urchin chips?
Urchin chips? We sure do.
So SpongeBob inquires if they carry urchin chips, and the cashier offers to pay for him if he goes out and washes his car.
Right out front. Oh, and please don't forget to wash the white walls.
I'm ready!
So here we just stroke the cursor back and forth erratically to simulate washing a car.
The amazing Mr. Absorbing, all done! She's all
So we tell the
sparkly and
cashier the
clean.
car is cleaned, and he says just go pick him right off the shelf. And we also find Mr. Krabs butt-ass naked with conveniently placed cans.
Seaweed in a can. What will they think of next? Hey there, Mr. Krabs!
Hello there, me boy.
SpongeBob
Mr.
inquires
Krabs,
why
what
he
happened
sold
to
his
your,
clothes,
clothes?
and isn't he embarrassed to be naked in public, and Mr. Krabs just screams, money, 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 money.
You're naked!
Money, 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 money.
Mr. Krabs, can I borrow this old cooking oil?
Take it.
SpongeBob also asks if he can have that old cooking oil that's sitting in the bargain bin, and Mr. Krabs says just take it, because Pearl got him a new lotion. And so we head down the aisle to grab our urchin chips and head right back to Grandma's house. And there we pick up the pie and we head back to the beach where there is a
Sorry, I don't
very,
have time to talk.
very sick
I'm late
dude.
for a doctor's appointment.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's wrong?
If you're ill as fuck, why the hell did you go to the beach? So we give the pie to Larry, who proceeds to eat it like a pig and then complains at us because he grew a love muscle supposedly from shoving a pie in his face.
I can't talk to you. I've got to take a jog down the beach.
And so we steal his sand bucket and shovel. And so we head into the tanning salon, and it turns out the tanning salon
Hey, this
is
isn't
a
tanning
beach.
salon. It's a beach.
We give the cooking oil we got from Mr. Krabs to the beach owner, who in return gives us the bottle of sunblock, and we turn around and give it to a lady that has a very manly voice.
Here you go, my lady. This sunscreen is industrial strength, SPF 100.
Why, thank you, kind sir. So good.
We also have an awkward encounter with a guy who just screams he's innocent, like right off the bat.
Oh, well, I'm busy. Busy doing nothing, that is.
So we find a sunken pirate ship and dig up the Flying Dutchman's buried treasure, and it turns out the treasure chest is full of bus tokens.
Just full of bus tokens. Oh well, I better take a few for later.
We head back to downtown and give Patrick the bus tokens, and he's wondering where the
Yeah, I
bus
wonder where
driver
that
is,
bus driver is.
who is conveniently taking a shit behind a building.
Whoa, boy, I knew I shouldn't have eaten those burritos for breakfast.
And we end up giving him an umbrella even though he's driving a fucking
Hello,
bus.
Mr. Bus driver, sir. Can we leave now?
The wind is picking up. Can't you smell
The
coming
bus driver
storm?
don't want to
I
leave
know
because he
mistakes.
thinks there's a storm coming, but SpongeBob convinces him to drive anyways.
Jeez.
They board the bus and Patrick ends up sitting on Plankton, who is screaming at the top of his lungs. Now, why Plankton was on the bus, we don't quite know.
You hear the most annoying sound in the whole sea?
That is
SpongeBob and Patrick start behaving erratically on the bus, and it pisses the bus driver off. And they're running up and down the damn aisles. The bus driver gets annoyed and stands up Meanwhile, the bus is driving over the sidewalk. So now it's raining and somehow the bus driver misses the exit for Neptune's Paradise. And he drives right into a tornado. And SpongeBob and Patrick are enjoying the hell out of it. The bus crashes in Rock Bottom, a familiar location from a Season 2 episode. So SpongeBob realizes Marty was right about not driving into a storm, and there is no possible way we can climb the wall, and there is no dude to give us a balloon like in the episode. So Marty's pissed off because the bus is wrecked, and yells at SpongeBob.
Are you mad at me because of the storm?
Yes, I didn't want to.
You would be
And the
so
information
kind
lady
to
won't
get
tell
me
us shit unless we get her a
What
kelp
am I,
bar.
a delivery boy? I've been running errands all day.
One kelp bar, please.
So we end up going to the bus stop and talking to that dude standing in the rain, and he looks very, very familiar, and he's kicking a can.
What do you think about all this bad weather?
SpongeBob asks the fish what he thinks of the weather, and the fish starts telling us about a wizard named Marlin.
I've heard legends of a powerful weather wizard named Marlin.
Say, don't I know you?
No.
Also, SpongeBob questions the fish if he went to the Krusty Krab earlier in the same day, and the fish denies even seeing SpongeBob at all, or even know who he is.
You look familiar, but maybe my eyes are just playing tricks on me.
No, it is the same fish. SpongeBob, you're not wrong. So SpongeBob steals the Pepsi can, and now the fish hates him. SpongeBob goes to the bathroom and somehow falls in the toilet. He ends up crawling out of the sewer and finds a quarter down there. He takes the quarter to the vending machine and gets a kelp bar. At least the kelp bar didn't get stolen this time.
Yeah. Your kelp bar,
So we go back to the bus station and give the kelp bar to the receptionist, and she tells us about a weather station that her sister works at.
Not much.
And SpongeBob can go inquire about the weather.
WSEA. My sister works there. They have daily too.
TV station is a CRT television, and SpongeBob breaks the fourth wall down. The speaker still works.
Hello, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Welcome to WSEA. Unfortunately, we are
So the
preparing
receptionist
for a
tells us to
gala
piss
event.
off because we are
Everything
not
is going
repairmen,
wrong, and you are
and they
quite
are in the middle of a
obviously
storm
not
that they're
a
very
repairman.
busy
So
tracking.
please come back tomorrow
And
for a tour.
SpongeBob begins to break the fourth wall talking about the computer.
Funny, sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a computer game. Oh, the horror.
And breaks the fourth wall again by noticing the Operation Krabby Patty poster.
Operation Krabby Patty. That was my very first game.
No, that was Legend of the Lost Spatula, also a THQ title. So we head back outside and go behind the television. Elsewhere, the French narrator informs us that Patrick and Mermaid Man are getting drunk at a bar somewhere.
Mermaid Man who can drink more cola.
Hi, what you doing?
Oh, hey there, little dude.
So we talk to a repairman fish who's complaining that his bosses are fixing an antenna that's not even broken,
Are those your tools?
and SpongeBob wants to borrow the tools,
I mean,
but the fish won't let us unless we bring him a kelpsie.
Kelpsie, huh? Where can I get one of those?
try the rusty anchor.
So we go to the bar and notice Barnacle Boy sitting in the parking lot, and we find Mermaid Man not feeling so good.
Hi, Mermaid Man. You don't look so good. Who did this to you?
SpongeBob asks Mermaid Man who did that to him, but Mermaid Man's not in good shape to explain. So he asks Barnacle Boy and finds out somebody pink and shaped like a star challenged him to a drinking contest.
Mermaid Man here can't hold his cola like he used to. Some yahoo challenged him to a cola drinking contest, and now he's got such bad gas he can't even stand.
So we go inside the bar, and SpongeBob looks at the time.
Wow, look at the time. I better get cracking if I'm ever gonna make it to Neptune's Paradise.
It is 1 a.m. How the hell is that amusement park still open? Not to mention there was just a tornado.
Hey,
SpongeBob
that
finds
was
a
just
beer
like
mug,
Patrick.
a photo of Mermaid Man and
Plankton looks really
Patrick,
big in this
and
picture.
a photo of Plankton.
My
He
friend
tells the
Mermaid Man's in
bartender
parking
that
lot
Mermaid Man's
outside,
out in the
and he could
parking
sure use
lot.
your help getting into his boatmobile. He's not feeling well from drinking all that Pepsi.
I better
The
help
bartender
him out.
agrees to
I don't
help
wanna
because he
scare
don't
off
want
my
him scaring off the customers. Dude, it's 1 a.m. What customers are going to be coming into the bar that late at night? Veterans? The bartender asks SpongeBob to look at the bar and says he can help himself to the Kelpsy around back. SpongeBob has to fill the beer mug with the Diet Kelpsy and put it in the Kelpsy can.
Okay, they on their way back
And the
to
bartender
the show.
says thank
I
you,
hope Mermaid
and
Man
that
learned
Mermaid
his
Man and
lesson.
Barnacle Boy are heading back
Thanks
to the
for watching.
retirement home.
Thanks for the Diet Cola.
We go back to the TV station and give the repairman a can of Kelpsy
Here you
filled
go,
with Diet
mister.
Kelpsy.
One, Kelpsy.
All right.
And he lets us borrow the tools so we can fool the receptionist into thinking we are
I wouldn't be
repairmen.
able to pass as JoJo. Cowabunga, ma'am. I'm like totally finito with the antenna.
Great. It's about time. Go
She tells
settle
us
up
to
with
go
Gary.
upstairs to
He's
meet with Gary upstairs in the newsroom.
Cool. Later, dudette.
We go into the broadcast room and find out Plankton's trying to film a public service announcement, which is actually a commercial.
For the chum bucket. I rode all the way out to this hole in the wall, and these louts can't even find me a cameraman.
SpongeBob is hesitant because he thinks it's a commercial, so Plankton has to lie to him that it's a public service announcement.
Did I say commercial? I meant public service announcement. Yes, I'm filming a public service announcement.
There, the camera is focused right on him. Okay.
So SpongeBob fills in as cameraman so Plankton can rant about how the news media is lying about his restaurant.
I'm innocent! I would never dream of doing the things those bottom-feeding reporters accuse me of.
SpongeBob goes and confronts Plankton that it didn't look like a public service announcement, and Plankton's insistent, but SpongeBob says if you don't understand then the children won't.
Probably most children won't either.
We get rewarded with another VHS tape.
Ooh, fine.
So we head upstairs into the newsroom and go and talk to the meteorologist.
Can you tell me when this weather is going to clear up?
SpongeBob asks Gary the weatherman when the weather is going to clear up, and Gary starts bragging about how they invented a machine that controls weather.
We have just finished building a weather controlling thingamajig. Once we unveil it, the weather will always be clear in Rock Bottom. Well, there are people who
Gary
claim
also
that
talks
a
about a wizard named Marlin
is behind it, but
that supposedly controls the
we're all
weather.
adults here.
Why is there a guy out
SpongeBob
there
asks
working on
Gary
the antenna?
why there's a repairman
Don't
out
get
back
me
fixing the
started.
antenna that
The
isn't
mega
broken, and Gary tells him because the radar is acting up, always showing an area of perfect weather.
With amazing accuracy. And yet, in the past few weeks, it's been giving us some very strange readings. It shows a zone of perfect weather that never changes.
Wow, the weather really...
So we go to the zone of perfect weather and we find a big wizard hat, and we walk inside and it has the appearance of a casino, a very low budget casino. We start tinkering with the slot machine, and after a couple pulls it finally gives us directions into the cave. So we head into the cave and follow the pattern that was displayed on the slot machine, and we find Patrick sleeping in the wizard's lair.
Hey, what's Patrick doing here? Why are you grouchy?
SpongeBob asks Merlin why he's so pissed off. Merlin is pissed off because Gary, the weatherman, invented a machine that controls weather, and it's his job to control the weather, not Gary's. He asks SpongeBob to go and sabotage the machine and gives him the wand to open the door that is sealed.
Sabotage the machine, and then I'll clear the weather right up.
SpongeBob goes back to the weather station and unseals the door in the control room.
SpongeBob, now open that door!
The seal is broken, and SpongeBob walks into the room and starts fiddling with the controls.
Okay, Patrick, now be real careful.
Somehow SpongeBob got Patrick to come to the weather station with the machine broken, Merlin clears the weather up, and they get back to the bus and proceed to act like jackasses once again. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy had to stop somewhere for a long period of time because now they're passing the bus and Patrick's being stupid out the window. And now the bus driver is finally fed up and realizes that the gas is out on the bus. When Patrick corrects him, he shoves a kelp bar into his throat.
There's a gas station down that way.
The bus driver says there's a gas station across the street from the diner that don't exist, and Patrick misunderstood, walks up a hill and falls down, and the bus driver starts laughing his ass off.
I didn't see any food over there.
No,
Bus driver tells Patrick that the diner's right behind him, and Patrick still don't know where it is. SpongeBob goes and looks at the gas cap.
That's funny.
SpongeBob realizes the bus driver is lying. Meanwhile, Patrick's running up to the diner and can't figure out how to open the door, not realizing it's a push and not a pull-open door. SpongeBob follows Patrick into the diner, and somehow Patrick quickly ordered a sandwich.
Well, Patrick, looks like we're just not meant to get to Neptune's paradise. Maybe we should just go home.
He then talks to Patrick about just giving up and going home, and Patrick starts screaming, "You can't give up now."
SpongeBob, I know, is defiant in the face of insurmountable odds.
He's what? In the face of what?
I don't know.
Patrick says he'll help SpongeBob once he's done eating. The waitress comes in and puts Sandy Cheek's order on the counter. SpongeBob consults the waitress and asks if she knows Sandy Cheeks, and the waitress says she just got off the phone with her, and they get to talking, and the waitress asks if SpongeBob can deliver her order.
Thank you, fella.
The waitress tells SpongeBob Sandy Cheeks is at Jellyfish
She needed
Fields.
a recharge and a slab of baby back ribs would do the trick.
Ugh, Texas food. Look at all these jellyfish. I better try not to get stung by any of them.
SpongeBob heads off to Jellyfish Fields and dodges all the jellyfish and then runs up to Sandy Cheeks.
Hiya, Sandy. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm all tuckered out from chasing jellyfish.
SpongeBob delivers Sandy's order of baby back ribs, and the two get to talking about filling up the rocket to go to Neptune's paradise.
I'll go get working on that rocket. Meet me there once you get your water helmet.
So SpongeBob heads back home, but there's a problem. There's a snake in the water helmet, and also in his closet is another damn VHS tape.
It looks like some sort of videotape.
SpongeBob has to get Squidward's clarinet to get that snake out, so he breaks into Squidward's house, who is dead asleep right now, and ends up watching the TV that's still on, and it's Tommy Chong talking about his new flea market, where everything is free.
Man, really choice stuff. I'm serious. Sniff this. We just got these babies in this week. Dream glasses. All you need to do is be near a buddy of yours who's sleeping.
The commercial mentions about a pair of sunglasses that let you go into people's dreams. So SpongeBob heads to the flea market and inquires about these sunglasses.
Hi. This place is weird.
Hello there, life traveler. How is
SpongeBob inquires with the hippie about the sunglasses he saw on the TV, and the hippie starts explaining how the sunglasses work. And then SpongeBob says he can't afford it, and the hippie's like, "No man, everything in the store is free."
Whatever sizzles your whizzle. So do you want a pair?
Yeah! But I don't have any money.
Money? You insult me. We don't even
Tommy Chong starts giving a liberal lecture to SpongeBob about money. And then SpongeBob has another encounter with the same fish from the Krusty Krab and Bikini Bottom.
Oh, hello, stranger.
With the dream glasses in hand, SpongeBob breaks back into Squidward's house, walks up to him, puts the glasses on, and enters his dream world. Squidward's dream for some reason has a bunch of pineapples and two statues of SpongeBob, posing as the Snakes. SpongeBob walks up to Squidward and tells him he's on the wrong side of the brain, and this is the dance recital, not the clarinet recital. And takes the clarinet supposedly going to the left side of the brain.
Now I can use this clarinet to get that sea snake out of my water helmet.
With the clarinet now in hand, we can get rid of that snake out of the water helmet. And now with the water helmet, we can finally go to the tree dome and visit Sandy.
I love visiting Sandy in her tree dome. Hi there,
Come to find out, Sandy lost the oxygen tanks at some point and kind of destroyed her yard.
Why do you need oxygen tanks?
'Cause that's what my rocket
You don't have to look very far. They're behind an overturned picnic table. SpongeBob heads up into the treehouse to give the oxygen tanks to Sandy, and they decide to leave.
Woo-wee! I knew you could do it, my little wrangler. Now let's get our rears in gear and hop along to Neptune's paradise.
So Patrick's done finally shoving his fat face and shows up to the tree dome. While Sandy's checking over the gauges, Patrick unknowingly stands on the fuel line filled with oxygen, rupturing it. Now the rocket takes off, and SpongeBob, not even halfway in, starts annoying the crap out of Sandy with, "Are we there yet?"
And that switch there honks the horn. And this gauge shows how deep we are. And these switches here are for the ejection.
And then Patrick gets up and announces he has to take a shit.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Sandy finally notices the fuel gauge is on empty. They crash through a billboard into a rock field, and the rocket is now heavily damaged. And now Patrick's complaining that he has to take a shit really, really bad, and plows over SpongeBob.
I gotta go find the bathroom.
Sandy, is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah. Go get these oxygen tanks.
Sandy says she can fix the rocket, but SpongeBob needs to go get oxygen from Oxygen Springs, and the security guard won't let him in because he's not wearing fancy clothes, so SpongeBob has to go back to Sandy and tell her the bad news. Meanwhile, a cowboy stole a golden coconut out of a rich person's yard.
Sandy, they won't let me
SpongeBob
into
tells Sandy he
Oxygen
can't get into
Springs.
Oxygen
They said I
Springs
don't meet
because of the
dress
trust code, so she tells him to go to Waverly Hills to consult a friend of hers who might have a jacket.
Greg might have one you can borrow.
SpongeBob arrives at a very, very expensive housing complex and goes and turns on a pump that turns the fountain on. He also picks up a coconut that fell out of a tree. So he stands in front of the statue that starts splashing water over him and makes him heavy, and his voice changes to a really deep tone.
All that water made me extra heavy.
So then he goes and stands on the gate, which breaks it open.
Looks like the gate got jammed
Then
open.
proceeds to make a comment about how all the houses look expensive.
I'm sorry for
The
yelling.
first rich guy he
just
meets
that no
apologizes
good
for
neighbor
being
of
so
mine
grumpy
vouches
because
for
his
me.
redneck
Not
neighbor
only
next
does he
door
make the
stole
whole
his golden
neighborhood
coconut
look
out of his
bad
tree.
by living in a tool
While I was
shed,
editing this
but he
video,
took one of
for some
my
reason my
golden
video
coconuts.
software had problems with the video file, so there's no sound from here on out. So SpongeBob goes to the redneck's house and asks if he knows Sandy Cheeks, which he does, and asks if he can borrow his jacket. He also walks into his closet to steal his golden coconut and give it back to the neighbor, and replaces that golden coconut with a fake one that came out of a tree. SpongeBob gives the golden coconut back to the rich neighbor, who gives him a quarter, and then he goes to the phone booth and calls the fancy restaurant, but the dickhead didn't tell us it was a private party tonight. SpongeBob gets into an altercation with the security guard and finds out it's an invite-only event. Just so happens in the nearby market, a guy is giving away an invitation if he can figure out the restaurant's new slogan. Well, SpongeBob ends up cheating and reads off the restaurant through a pair of binoculars. SpongeBob shows the security guard his invitation that he just won 5 seconds ago, and finally gets access to go up to the restaurant. The hostess won't seat us until we go and get a jacket from the jacket lady, and then he'll finally let us go to our seat. SpongeBob consistently asks the waiter what's the specials in the restaurant, and he's happily listing everything they have on the menu. He ends up pissing off the waiter when he tries to order a fast food item at a fancy restaurant. He gets thrown out, but the restaurant forgot to take the jacket back, so he finally gains access to Oxygen Springs. Learns the hard way all that work was for nothing because Patrick climbed over the wall, which would have made this a whole lot easier. He finds another VHS tape in the locker room. The VHS tapes are nothing more than a bunch of beta sketches from when the game was in early development. Finally, SpongeBob starts having a fit because he finds yet another fish that looks identical, and his twin brother for some reason has Patrick's pants. And he finds out there's more than one brother. SpongeBob gives Patrick his pants back. With the oxygen tanks filled, they finally make it to the amusement park and find out it was rented out to Scream Boob SquarePants, and it turns out it was a mispronunciation of his name. SpongeBob finds out his friends rented out the park just for him, and for some reason a bunch of people he just met that day arrive too. And so they start riding all the rides. In much in the same manner, they're misbehaving just like they did on the bus. Employee of the Month is AWE Games' second SpongeBob title, and due to a low budget, they reused a lot of sounds and music from Operation Krabby Patty, but at least they did a good placement of them. Much of the show's cast reprises the roles of their respective characters, except Mr. Krabs has 2 different voice actors for some reason, and there's a bunch of one-time characters that were introduced and some one-time places that were never seen in the show. All in all, it was a very good adventure game, and it feels like a genuine episode that Steven Hellenberg would have made. Much of the artwork matches the show's aesthetics, and even the taste of music. The game can be ran on modern hardware, except I kept running into issues trying to record footage for this. I would definitely recommend this game.